episode 81 of This and That and What the Fuck Else. Now in this episode I'm going to talk about the EU, my favorite topic, the global reset, actually the global revolution, and I've got some stuff from Germany and then some green incidents and things. I'm going to start this off with an interview that Lagarde woman from the European Central Bank gave, and she made a few statements that I just could not really wrap my head around it and accept that this is the woman that is in charge of the finances of the EU. And it was shocking. One of the questions, she made a statement: the sick Putin is behind Europe's inflation crisis. ECB chief describes Russians president's flashing freezing eyes in a RTE interview. Now, you're going to read this, I've highlighted in yellow, but that is translated incorrectly in this one. ECB President Christine Lagarde said that the inflation with which Europe is struggling today has come from nowhere. Now, if the chief of the central bank says the inflation came from nowhere, you have to be worried. And I listened to another interview of her where she also said, the guy asked her about the inflation and she very nonchalantly said, he asked her about the inflation and she said, it will come down. Now, what the hell is that? For the first time in the Eurozone, inflation exceeded the 10% threshold and reached a record level of 10.7% in October. When high-ranking officials make detailed statements, it appears that either they are not very smart or that they take their own population for fools. Seeing what decisions the Western leadership takes today, we can say that both options may well exist together. And that is true. And then the writer of this little article made a few other remarks. They do not admit their mistakes, do not remember, and erase it. No one wants to understand and accept that in the 20th century, the Western countries quickly surrendered to the fascists. And then he mentions the bombing of Yugoslavia, the biological weapon test tube at the UN, Afghanistan. He refers to the Nazis in Kiev. The West also confidently does not see them there. It's really easier, more convenient, it's less embarrassing. You can just call things by other names, cover up mistakes that cost millions of lives. Just like today, all the problems came out of nowhere. And Western leaders have nothing to do with it, as always. I am really stunned by what is happening in Europe. I cannot believe that a small number of people that was never elected has managed to destroy the European economy and the European industry. And then this is about Germany. Germany wants to train a full Ukrainian brigade with up to 5,000 soldiers until spring. In addition, one of the two headquarters will be in Germany. In the future, the description "absolute idiots" will be found in the dictionary under the description Germany. And I think she is right in saying that, because you cannot really, this is too much. And then there's this disturbing article in the Telegraph. German state pension on the verge of collapse. Retirement age needs to rise in line with the growing life expectancies, trade body warns. Now I want to say it again. In 2005 I was in Kuwait And one night we were out in the desert there having a braai, and there was bankers and touch of guys there. I sat next to a banker, and he said to me, he said, Mr. Colleen, Europe is in shit. And I said, what do you mean? And he said that the way the European countries have managed their pension funds means that they will end in a place where they won't be able to pay the pensions. And I said to him, okay, and what are they going to do? And he said, they're going to kill the old people. Now, I will never forget that discussion. And when I saw what happened to the old people during the pestilence, and then I get an article like this, German state pension on the verge of collapse, and I have to wonder. And then we get to the global revolution. Just in, China supports BRICS expansion with Saudi Arabia as a potential new member. The end of the petrodollar has arrived. I have spoken about that a few times. I think the de-dollarization is happening way faster than anybody. And then this from Ibrahim Hassan. He's a journalist in the Middle East. Instead of taking care of the dangerously rising mess at home, US policymakers are going out of their borders and creating a mess in other parts of the world. The world will be better if those people get rid of their hegemonic delusions and accept coexisting with others peacefully. Now that is a very strong message, and the West should really take note of this. And then another one from Ibrahim. The biggest strategic mistake some US officials are making in their relations with the rest of the world, especially with Arabs, is having complacency and hubristic sense of entitlement. They delusionally expect other nations to serve US interests at the expense of their own. And that is so true, and we have seen it happening so many times. But that story is coming to an end. And then there is this cartoon, just look at it, and it's all about that, the fact that between Russia and Turkey, they will develop a gas hub for Europe in Turkey. And Erdogan is going to be in control. I can just imagine it. And this cartoon is very, very, very real. And then there's more. Thailand to accept mere cards from Russian tourists. The ambassador to Russia announced that the mere payment system will soon be start operating in the country. And that is great news, and I like it. And I've heard that a number of the top hotels in Turkey is now taking the mere cards, and also they are also accepting the Visa and MasterCard of Russians that was issued by Russian banks. And then we get to this. Since the beginning of the war, Russia has increased trade not only with Turkey, India and China, but also with Brazil, Belgium, Spain and even the Netherlands and Japan. Moreover, according to the publication, in percentage terms, Belgium is ahead of China, 81% versus 64%. The leaders in terms of turnover growth were India and then Turkey. As you can see, the whole world is against Russia. It is a pity that no one wants to publish this schedule of trade between Ukraine, Zelensky and other countries. And here is a bigger image of that trade, and this was published in the New York Times. You can stop it here and sit and look at that and think. And then we get this about the Turkish hotels. to connect Russian payment systems. Turkish hotels have started to connect with Russian payment systems, allowing them to accept not only Mir cards but also the Visa and MasterCards issued by Russia. This is good. I like it. I really like it. The rest of the world is breaking out of that grip that the West has on the whole world. Now this one made me laugh. I read it and I really laughed. Rumble to disconnect France from service in response to the demand to block Russian media. The video sharing platform CEO Chris Pavlovsky tweeted, "The French government has demanded that Rumble block Russian news sources. In response to the request, Pavlovsky said Rumble will turn off France entirely, and we will challenge the legality of this demand." Journalist and free speech advocate Glenn Greenwald tweeted in defense of RT, "Think how important this story is. France, like all EU states, legally barred any platform for airing RT, and that it's legally required to censor it." Now this is an interesting move. And then we get to the green stuff. Old growth trees cut down for a wind farm. Rainforest trees 200 years old have been cleared to make way for a wind farm transmission line in Tasmania's Tarkine. How stupid has the people become? Trees are vital to processing CO2, and the greens, they drive on the one hand and on the other hand they destroy. Look at this. And I have spoken about it in previous Skidmarks. I think it was Scotland that cut down 4 million trees to make room for a wind farm. And then this is quite disturbing. In Paris, an electric bus caught fire epically after a battery explosion. And I watched that video. That was a hell of a fire. You know, you can't put it out with a normal fire brigade equipment and stuff. And then there's some more green nightmares. Look at that image, and then it says that little yellow thing is a bulldozer. It is burying windmill blades used for green energy. Why? Because these blades need to be disposed of, and there is presently no way to recycle them. That's how green energy works. Hey, this is scary. These green guys, they must be declared terrorists. And then we get to that what the fuck. And what the fuck is this? Look at that image. This is Lula, that new president of Brazil. The new president of Brazil showing his allegiance to Baphomet. Satanists control this planet. Look at that image. And then you will agree, what the fuck is that? I cannot believe it. And they are open about it now. They don't hide it, they don't try and keep it a secret. They openly flaunt it that they are Satanists. The world has gone crazy. Please hit a like and subscribe and share the thing. Thank you for your support.